What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Ham Radio Crash Course. Welcome to Saturday, first day back from the Campout. I'm going to be talking about basically like what I learned, lesson learned, fun tips and tricks and things that I'm not going to put into my repertoire. And I'm actually going to talk about something that I don't know if it's new news to anybody, but it's something that I find interesting and may affect those of you who are getting ready for field day. So go ahead and stay tuned. The party will get started real soon. Enjoy the memes. What's up, everybody? Thank you, Sonic D, for the wonderful music. How's it going, everybody? Thanks for clicking on the Ham Radio Crash Course. So we did our camp out last week. I don't know, I can't remember the exact number, but I think we had a little over 20 people. And actually, that number was pretty good. We came down a bit. We were around 30-ish people for the camp out. Going to 20 was actually a good thing because it was a bit of a septic tank problem. So the fact that it was actually less people means that it was less impact. Lessons learned for the future if we ever are allowed to go back to that place, which fantastic campsite, highly recommended. But shout out to Shane Barton. Congratulations on getting your tech and general license today. Congratulations, buddy. So talking about ham radio camping, right? We've talked about this stuff before. I'm live right now, bud. Close the door. Thank you very much. Yeah, you can come say hi real fast while we're kicking off the show. Well, everything's starting off, say hi to Roy there. I think I saw Kyle earlier. There's Ben. Ben was camping with us, too. Did you have fun?
Yes.
What was your favorite thing?
Ham radio.
Okay, ham radio. He's been using the hamstudy.org app. All right, go back inside. Thank you.
No.
Yeah, I got to do, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Can I rotate this?
No, go. I'm doing something. Thank you very much.
Hey, Daddy.
Okay, thank you. Go. All right. Hey, there's Shane. I saw James Hannibal as well. Speaking of James Hannibal, we're doing a giveaway with him right now. It's already set up for enrollment over on the Discord. You just go to the giveaways chat and you can join that. So anyway, a lot of people have done camping with ham radio. I don't think I'm going to be providing any new information here really, other than just kind of talking about what my larger issues were as we went through the weekend. And share some photos and some fun memories and whatnot. But yeah, Evan, for sure. I'm sure Ben will be on in future live streams once he gets some kind of accepting of how we do a show out here. You tell him like, okay, go inside, or okay, be quiet now, and he'll be touching everything. And he's sat over my shoulder before on live streams, and he doesn't listen. He won't be quiet. But anyway, very good. All right, let's do a couple shout out things real fast. We have a Dayton shirt, everyone. Leia has made the 2023 Dayton shirt this year. It is called the Right Dayton shirt for 2023. So, yeah, I actually drew that little radio that's rolling along on the top of that thing. So there you go. If you want to wear a special for Hamvention 2023 only shirt, there's your opportunity to snag one of those. And I know it says Dayton instead of Xenia. That's just, you know how it goes. And still a reminder, if you want to help out somebody who's important to ham radio, go check out Amanda's GoFundMe. Remember, she had a bit of an issue. She got a serious, very, very nasty case of pneumonia. Put her in the hospital. She's been on oxygen now for weeks. It's probably going to be there maybe through this whole month. I haven't spoken to her since I got back for the camp out, but yeah. So go check out Amanda's GoFundMe if you've got some extra money. Want to help her out. Do that. All right, let's give a shout out here to our friend in the chat, Mr. James Hannibal of Quirky QRP. The link is in the description. James does I mean, he's got the perfect name. They're quirky, fun things for ham radio. And he made this mat. It's like a kind of a mouse pad material. It's very much, for those of you know what I'm talking about, it's very much like that exploded Glock mat. Like if you remember, like on a lot of gun tube channels, they always have like that Glock mat or Sig mat or whatever. It's very much like that, and I've actually got one here on the tabletop. And I mean, you're looking at it. That's it exactly right there. So we're going to be giving away 5 of those over the course of the next 2 live streams. And the easiest way to get in on that, it's quite simple, in fact. You go to giveaway on the Discord. And if you click on the giveaway right here at the top, giveaway, and then you click this little party horn button, that is all it takes to join. We've got 191 people involved right now, and we're going to do... Oh, it says 1 winner. I'm going to have to make another one. So keep an out for a second giveaway because there should be 2 winners to that one. I just noticed it says 1. So we'll make a second one for the second one, and we'll do that at the end of the show next week. So right on, James. Appreciate your support. I love the new stuff too. He's got a couple of things actually. So there's the mat, and where's Quirky QRP here? Boop, boop, boop. That's very weird. Etsy's kind of weird, isn't it? I think it is. There we go. So he's got a wall hanger, a water bottle, and a watch band for Apple Watches. This one displays the CW frequencies, just the, unofficial band plan. And he's got all that stuff on his site as well as the antenna trolley, which we've talked about on previous live streams and other shows. I love this thing. If you've got a lot of antennas, like for HTs, that thing is pretty cool. I definitely have all of my antennas shoved into that thing. Makes life a lot easier when you've got a lot of antennas to deal with. So let's go ahead and hop over here. This is what the campsite looked like. And I'll be taking questions just through this whole thing. If you just @question, if you say question somewhere in your comment or you @Ham Radio Crash Course, I'll stop and I'll take your questions live as we go. Because this is going to be just a free-flowing chat. I'm paying attention to the chat as well. So feel free to jump on in there if you've had a question. So this is a shot that Adam took. This is a panoramic of what they call the glamping cabin on the far right. Sunsets to the west there, and that's Tom's Jeep right in front. And then it scrolls across over to where that first camper is, and then that's kind of a roundabout where we had a bunch of different campsites set up. It was pretty nice, and it backs up to the Cleveland National Forest, which is a park. So we were in park boundaries. We pulled up the map. Absolutely. Yeah, seriously, that's a Jeep ad. It kind of looks like one. Yeah, Adam, you should send that off to Jeep. It was a very nice campsite, and we really like it, obviously, for ham radio because it's incredibly RF quiet. There's like nothing going on. We did have a couple of weird little noise issues that popped up occasionally, but, these are a lot of folks that are semi-off-grid. And so they got a lot of solar and other stuff, but it was never really like a pervasive problem. We did have a lot of people actually operating from their individual campsites, which we'll talk about. That was kind of one of the lessons learned things. And so all in all, though, I think everybody had a good time, and everybody who wanted to activate did activate, at least from my understanding. All right, what's next here? That's the back side of the camp, looking out into the Cleveland National Forest. So if we go back here, I walked up to where this camper is on the far left, right here, and right facing off into those hills. If you look, this is kind of like, how would this be? South, a little bit south facing. Really nice, just beautiful. Lots of hikes. Javi went and actually did a soda activation while we were out there. Super, super cool. But the big thing with a ham radio campout, what do? You eat a lot, right? So first day we had just mountains of pizza. You can see that here. This is all just, I think that's like half of the pizza we ended up having. We had like way, way, way overkill on pizza. Now, if you remember that camper, there's that camper. Use that as a frame of reference. We're standing in the glamping tent, as it's the glamping cabin, as it's called. So that roadway to the right there, that actually takes you up and around that loop, and you can see my truck just above my head. So pretty big. And then there's a whole other side up to the north there that we were able to kind of take advantage of that was another camping spot. But lots of food. That's a big thing. So keep that in mind if you're going to go do a ham radio camping event and everybody's just chilling out, make sure you got food. No such thing as too much pizza. It's true, and we ended up using like all of it for leftovers, kind of like for lunches or add-on meals and all that other fun stuff. So that worked out really well. 1 second. Does that work now? There it is. No such thing as too much pizza. You are right, sir. Hey, Mike KMRD's in the house. What's up? He's saying hi to Don. How's it going, man? All right. A couple of more food items, because I know as much as we like to talk about ham radio dudes also like to talk about food. And this is no different. So for field day, why not set up an adult Lunchable spread? This is my wife's charcuterie layout that she had after a couple people got into it. It got beat up a little bit, but it was good. It was really good stuff. And all of this things, like this mountain of poundage that we carried out, man, it was a lot. We had like 3 coolers and just a ton of stuff that we dragged into the field. So pretty crazy. This was breakfast on the last day right above my head. Those were pigs in a blanket that K6ARK, Adam, made. So he had an oven that you probably saw if you watched our Thomas Mountain videos that we made. He has this Camp Chef oven that has a stove on top, runs on propane. I went out and bought one after seeing that thing live. And it turns out that it'll run off of, or Adam found, a Chinese propane adjustable regulator that you can get for it, and it makes it work really, really well. So these were amazing. Adam actually cooked 2 meals. He did a breakfast burrito thing on Saturday morning and then Sunday morning. Pigs in a blanket, which is perfect breakfast food, right? That's the other side facing the glamping tent. You can see the oven kind of in the background. Everybody's hanging out. This was, I believe, Saturday's. No, this is the first day. I can see the pizza boxes. So a lot of people hanging out there. Leia actually cooked. We had marinated chicken and barbecue, which we'll pull up the live stream, as much of the live stream as we can from last week. You actually caught part of the barbecue catching on fire. The bottom of it was full of grease that collected in the trap, and so I think we got that on the live stream. We'll check into that at the end of the live stream tonight here, because I haven't actually gone back and watched it. I kind of wanted to see it. Here's another shot of that roundabout. You can kind of see it now, this road that kind of sweeps across here and then goes up and around. And a lot of people were camped up on that back area, which, look at the separation between the sites. You think it's a kind of close, but it actually wasn't that bad. We didn't have a whole lot of people stepping on each other. We did have to move bands around, and most people had kind of multi-band antenna type setups that most of the time it wasn't a problem. We're going to walk through some of the antennas, and I will be doing a standalone video where we kind of introduce most of the campers and what antennas and radios they're rocking too. So the first one, though, we'll take a look at, and this one was probably one of my favorites, aside from obviously running the Buddy Hex, which I really did enjoy. But Shane, who's in the chat right now. So Shane has a very simple setup. It's a rollover base. He's got not a buddy stick, a DX Commander pole and a Coffee and Ham Radio's antenna. And you can see what he's done there. He's used that little plastic electric fence post that we've talked about for the Buddy Stick Pro for that elevated radial. He's just, inverted V'd over his Coffee and Ham Radio end-fed, and that's it. That's the whole setup. And I believe Shane's in the chat here, so you can correct us, but I think he was using, was it the 710 or the FTDX10, Shane? You can tell us. I think he's watching. But yeah, I really like this setup. This is a really, really simple setup for most people that want to do POTA, but maybe you kind of want to run from your car. You can do that, and you can set up in the back if you wanted to. You could set up in a tent. You can do whatever. And Shane, correct a misconception. Oh, 710, FT7. Thank you, Shane. Appreciate that. So he said that's the Apollo, and that he was running the FTDX or the FT710. Shane, that wasn't your first time camping, right? That was just your first time in a ham radio type camp out, right? Was that what I heard correctly? Is that true? Nice setup, though, regardless. And let's see, what's the next one? So there's the Buddy Hex, of course. That's what I ran. And if you look out past the Buddy Hex and those cars in the background, that was also our campsite. That's a straight out and back run, though. And we had Brooks from the Thomas Mountain Campout. He was down there at the end. He had his setup. But yeah, everybody pretty much kind of had their own little space. We had enough to spread out. It was pretty good. It was a nice little setup. I'm not sure whose is that, but that ended up getting in the I'm not sure whose picture that is. I don't know who took that picture, but this is on the last day when the cloud cover started rolling in. Clouds are coming in kind of low, probably coming in from the coast off of San Diego, and just sitting down right there flat, rolled in almost like a blanket of marshmallow, and would heat up and kind of rise up. But you can see a couple of antennas there in the background. Most of them just look like either end-fed half-wave with a mass there, or possibly a Rolf River coil. I'm not sure. But the thing you have for sure when you have a ham radio meetup or just a camp out or a POTA is you got one dude working or operating and a bunch of other dudes sitting around and then somebody else with a camera taking pictures. And that's the case here. This is actually Adam's 7-element wire Yagi. And we were actually able to do a comparison between the Buddy Hex and the and Adam's antenna, and his antenna won on 10 meters. It's monoband 10 meters, but I'm not surprised. A 7-element, wire Yagi versus a 2-element wire Yagi. Obviously, that's going to perform really well. But the contact that we used was a New Zealand station. So we were both. Tom made a contact on my 7300 hooked up to the Buddy Hex, and Adam was, I think, on an 891. He can correct us, but also 100-watt radio. So pretty apples to apples, and he was not that far away. And yes, we did have a jungle juice container. That is something that my wife has carried on as a tradition in the decades now that we've gone camping. So guess how young it was when we started doing that. And yeah, the many YouTubers were well represented in the form of shirts. So you can see we got a Coffee and Ham Radio shirt right there. And so we got a couple of crap tops, and Jankopotamus laptops were there. That is the 710, I believe. And I think this is actually Shane's setup. And then they got the 705. I'm not sure who took that, but it was uploaded to our drive that we have. And it looked like a good setup. A lot of people were kind of running this way. So pretty cool. That is the setup. Okay, good. So that did work out all right. Yeah, all in all, activation-wise, pretty good. No problem. So here was the where the lightning is. That's actually my truck in the background. That's where I set up my Go box, and I was running 3 antennas. So I had just a simple VHF, UHF, one of those Comet, 5-footers. That went into the Yaesu FT. What? I'm losing my brain. FTM 500. That's it. Mainly for running APRS, and we had a talk around frequency. I got there first, so I set that up like really quickly, and I was able to use that to help people get in, as well as Adam was on the HT as well. You remember that when you go camping and you got people coming in, particularly if you're somewhat off of a dirt road like this was. This wasn't paved the last couple of miles in, and there were a couple of different roads you could go. Really handy to identify a calling frequency that's not on 146.520. That would be my preferred way of going. So, yeah. I will take a break in the action here since I saw Mike. By the way, guys, if you have questions on anything from the camp out or just camping in general, ham radio, go ahead and post that below. Reminder, we got a Discord contest or giveaway going on. Then we're going to give away something next week. And we'll be doing an after chat over there. So if you want to join us for ham radio questions and you talking in the mic and we answer you, go ahead. Oh, Mike. No, you're going to have to use the overhead. Boop, boop. I stopped at the Total Wine and More, and they had Founders All Day Sampler. It was a sampler pack. So that was the beer that I drank, and I had some left over, so I'm going to be having one of those. But it is a All Day Haze Session Hazy IPA. Pretty good stuff. Back to the images. Let's see. Oh, good question. Thank you. So VE2FGJ asks him. Ooh, FGJ. Ooh, that's a heavy CW load, my friend. Oh boy, what happened to my comment here? There you go. There we go. What power did you use? Battery, solar? Okay, this question goes hand in hand with one of the things that I loved, which, by the way, I've got a whole bunch of stuff on the tabletop and some links I'm going to show you guys too as we finish up these pictures. I only got a couple more where I'm going to talk about the issues I had, how I'm going to mitigate them or attempt to, and then what I would recommend out of it. And then going along with that, Roy asked, what kind of go box is that? So that's a Gator case. That is a 6U Gator case. Frankly, it's too big. I'm going to probably end up getting rid of this one and getting a 4U Gator case. I think I can do everything I need to with the 4U and still be able to cram a 7300 in there. I don't know. I do like having those speakers on that top shelf, and there's actually a 20 amp hour battery right behind those speakers. So all you have to do is supply power to it, and you're able to just run. And in the case of supplying power, I'll just go ahead and give a spoiler. Let me go back a step here. Let me go back to a picture of my truck. Where'd it go? Oh, it hasn't come up yet. Never mind. That's me. Not following my own stuff here. So I was using solar panels. And in this case, I just laid it on top of my truck, and I used 2 bits of cordage to just wrap them around the mirrors, the side view mirrors. And I have a little antenna on the top, the rear side of the cab. I just did another grommet around that and put the little piece of cordage on there. And then I went over the top of the awning, this awning that we're sitting under, or this shelter type thing, and then just dropped. You can see some of the coax feeds and the power feeds were coming right into the go box. That's all I did. It's pretty simple. Yeah. I'm reading the chats here. Scott. Actually, we do need to talk about APRS. We'll save that for the end as well. Kate MRD is an absolute genius. His video has brought more attention to APRS in just a few days than a year of other YouTube vids. Well, I don't know. I got a lot of pretty popular APRS videos. Didn't make any APRS contacts today at the park either. I tried. No infrastructure. I checked. You got digipeters in that elephant graveyard park you went to. I don't remember the name. Uh-oh. I have a box for you. Uh-oh. I don't know what that means. To put me in? Are you going to put me in that box? So here's another shot of what the operating position looked like. Behind us there is the Buddy Hex. And my truck's in the background that the solar panel was on. And you can see the coax kind of draped along the top. And I kind of moved things around. I was using the Chameleon Mastworks, or Portamast system as well, and that's that pole that's right behind my truck. You've seen a video on that. That's pretty good for most things. I was actually able to get my VHF UHF Comet antenna on top of that and run an end fed up to the kind of pinnacle of that. The top of that mast, there's a little carabiner, spring link carabiner, and then shoot it across the line to another pole that we set up. Made it really easy. That was a really fast setup and worked great for the entire weekend. Having the Buddy Hex, of course, helped too. So NG6LNLW, that's a 6U case? I was looking at getting that from your suggestion. If 4U can fit a 710 and battery, I think I'll change it. Your thoughts. What I would recommend you go do is watch my video on my Go Box build. I did a couple of videos on building up that 6U Go Box. The problem that you're going to find is you're going to have to draw the line somewhere, right? And I'm going to flip back to me here for a second so I can get a little bit more handsy with this. You're going to have to, you got to put radios in the thing, right? And then you start working back behind the radio. Is it just going to be batteries? Okay, then a battery could likely fit in there. Well, how are you going to charge that battery? Oh, I'm going to use a Epic Power Gate from West Mountain Radio. Okay, then I need to have space for that. And then I'm going to need a hole on the side that I can plug, the feed for the solar panel, for instance, or whatever into it so it can charge. And then you go, well, I also want to do, 110. So maybe I'll go ahead and add a power supply in there. Okay, now I got a power supply in there. And what happens is the more self-sustained everything is in the box, the bigger the box starts getting. So that box has a Epic Power Gate, a power supply, a 20 amp hour battery, and then the appropriate distribution blocks using power poles to be able to run the power everywhere it goes. So it's kind of tough. Hey, Big Easy, thank you for becoming a member of the extra class level, or the super extra as we like to call it. Question from Don: did you have an antenna boy? In Texas, we have Jason. Well, kind of. We'll talk about that on my favorite things. We all had antennas. Everybody was very well situated, very well put together. Very little issues. I think the only issue that I needed to, again, ask Adam for help for was I actually had my little coax, multi choose your own coax adapter kit, and I actually ran out from all the different feeds I was running and into different things. There was a moment where we wanted to plug Adam's my 705 into something so Adam can do CW, and we ended up needing to play around with the coax stuff. But I definitely had a lot of antennas. Plus, we did a giveaway, which I'll show you. A longer form video will be on the giveaway on the video that I produce probably next week, but we'll show you a little bit of that here in a second. That's another shot from Sunday. So just absolutely beautiful, the whole area. It was really pretty. Nice spot. Really nice spot. And, no, that's not it. So this is the first, yeah, there you go. So there's another shot of sunset. And this one Adam took. This is kind of more close up than that panoramic we started with, which was really, really nice. So good job. Adam took a lot of pictures. Adam shot some video too, so you can expect the whole thing out there. And there's the whole crew, or pretty much the whole crew of everybody that came out. Absolutely fantastic. We had a lot of fun. If you go listen to the podcast, we talk a little bit about more on kind of what our favorite things were, favorite food, favorite memory, favorite thing that happened, worst thing that happened, like the barbecue catching fire. But yeah, it was a good group, really good group. So we'll likely do something like that in the future. No idea what, but let's take a look at just a quick snippet of some of the stuff we gave away. Heather, where's Heather? Dummy load, 300 watts.
Okay.
I had a bunch of MFJ stuff that I had duplicates of, so I like those two boxes down by my side, full of like swag stuff. How about K6 ARK BNC NFED?
Is this yours?
That is mine.
Oh,
Mine doesn't have the USB-C.
Right.
There's your end fed right
There's your
there.
end All right, now we're getting into the nitty-gritty here. All right, so we are going to coffee and ham radio NFED antenna.
Ooh. Yes.
Mark.
That's Mark.
This was cool.
He said he was going to order one and he got it.
Did you already order it?
No.
Oh, wow.
I have it in my cart. Oh, this is already built too, huh?
No.
Oh, it's a kit.
Can I see
So-
it? Is it a kit?
Yes,
Mark
it's a kit.
That's the
saw Shane
Yeah, I was
set
just
up.
I was like, I'll do it
I was
later.
like, I'm gonna
Same
buy
exact
that.
one.
What? That's lucky right
Yeah,
there.
that's good.
Ended up winning it. This is a power film,
Oh boy.
60 watt, foldable panel.
Wow.
Stick your hand down there.
To Steven. Conan the Malinois.
Thank you very much.
Good dog. So, the winner, we ended up giving away a couple of things, but we had a power film solar panel, a couple of radios, handheld mobiles, some other stuff. It was really cool. I think everybody got something, which was really nice. So that was really, really fun. Let's dive in. Let me see. There's a couple of questions. I did not ask. I was thinking about that before the live stream. I'm like, how many total QSOs did all of you have after the campout was over? WX7JM. I didn't ask, and I should have. And I feel I feel a little remiss for not having done it. But to be honest, it wasn't a competition. It wasn't like that. And it certainly wasn't a, we got to get all the contacts. It was more like just kind of hanging out with people that, we know online and, local friends and that kind of stuff. So everybody, no logs. Well, nobody was logging for there's no one person that was logging for everybody. everybody did their own thing, and they have their own POTA logs that they will upload. So let's see. N2AWS, did you see that apparently there was an M3.9 Halo CME with some of it Earth-facing? We supposedly should be seeing of it sometime this weekend. Well, that sucks because I got a POTA plan tomorrow. That's not great. I'm unhappy about that. Shane did 75 POTA activation or POTA QSOs. He's talking in the chat now. Shane also got a lot of DX off of his NFED, which was pretty nice. Yeah, I noticed this morning the bands were totally trash. So I'm guessing that's what that was. Everything was dead earlier this afternoon. Oh, Tom, what was Shane, tell him the park identifier since you're in the chat. All right, let me go ahead and pull up the next thing here. So there's not going to be a ton of rhyme or reason. I'm not going to go, these are my favorites, these are my least. But I will say, oh, there you go. The park was K4454. If you want to check those up. Yes, Alexis, or Siri sees as well. All right. So here's some of my favorite things, and it's going to be intermixed with some of the issues I had. These panels, all of them, even the less expensive ones, they just work great. I put this on top of the truck, left it alone, did its thing. Doing a video review of a solar panel is always a dicey proposition because it's like, what am I supposed to say about it? Yeah, it folds up really light. Yeah, it unfolded really light. Yeah, it puts out sun when it's in the sun, and yeah, it puts out power. So we were using the 120 watt foldable from PowerFilm. I had no issues. Worked great. Just kind of tied it down on top of the truck. My radio was in use a lot. A lot of people were operating on my radio. I was either trying to set up some folks to help them out with the digital modes. Like I know Ben, for instance. Ben had he had Mac out there, wanted to get his Mac set up. So we were able to kind of get him going, which was pretty nice, among other people. It was really cool. So the PowerFilm solars, particularly if you're out here where I am, where it's a lot of sun, worked just perfectly. The other thing that got some use was the Power Mini, in my case, the Power Mini 1st gen, but the Power Mini 2 is available on the Buddy Poll website. And in fact, I believe Shane was one of the people who borrowed it to kind of check it out. That was really cool for people that were like, hey, I'm kind of interested in this, solar thing. What can you do with it? So we had a 40-watt panel, a fold-up 40-watt panel, and the Power Mini. And I think Shane just wanted to check out if he could run his off the USB port as well. And all that stuff works really well. If you're interested in the Power Mini, again, that's a charge controller. So that's going to connect to a solar panel, connect to a battery, and then connect to 2 loads. So you can run like 2 radios if you wanted to for DC. It also has a USB port on the side for charging a smartphone or possibly a lightweight laptop or tablet, and that is the big distinction with the 2nd gen of the Power Mini, is that they increase the power output on the USB. So that is what they did. Oh, yeah, that Shane said I forgot to bring a charge controller. That's what it was. And let's see. What happened to my internet? Okay. Here's something that I want to hit. So the one thing I don't have in my collection of outdoor stuff is a multiplexer. In this case, the one we're looking at is called the pentaplexer. And what it does, hopefully I can get a picture of it there. Maybe you can see it. Yeah, you see how it's labeled 28, 24, 21, 18, 14. So that takes in one antenna and outputs 5 antenna ports, right? So one box goes into the antenna, so say a Buddy Hex, right? My Buddy Hex antenna. And then you take that one coax, plug it in there, and that splits out those bands basically from an operating standpoint. So not that it wasn't that big a deal, but if you were doing field day, for instance, or something along those lines, the plot of land we had and were spread out into is actually, I believe, more space than you're allowed to use on field day. Field day has like a 100 or 200 foot or yard, might be 200 yard space that you can be in. So having a multiplexer would have been really nice because I could have just said, hey, everybody, just all set up on the central picnic table with your stuff, and then you can just run whatever you want. And that would have been pretty helpful if we had that. But you can see the price of that, right? So once you factor in the cost of the buddy hex, the cost of the mass works, and then potentially a multiplexer, you're definitely talking about something that like maybe you buy the buddy hex and then you have the club buy the multiplexer, because if they want to use your antenna, they're going to need to split it up. But the thing to know here is that these things have become incredibly difficult to get. All these multiplexers and bandpass filters, we're going to get to that too, Heath, for sure. They're all like sold out right now. I don't know what's going on, if it's just the company that was kind of like the leader in that space has dialed it back some, or what's going on, but there are just not many out there anymore. And you can see Pile Up is one of the locations. DX Engineering is another one that would sell these pentaplexers or multiplexer boxes, and they're out of stock all over the place. Plus, they're really freaking expensive. To go along with that, let's see. DX Engineering's DXE419P also looks cool for a bandpass filter too, but just for a single radio and antenna pair. No antenna sharing, but solves the hot neighbor problem. Yeah, and that should be mentioned as well. Even though we did have a pretty large space, we still did have some issues where somebody would be on the high side of 20 and somebody else would be operating FT8. And when the FT8 operator was transmitting, they would step on each other a little bit. And so that's where ideally it would be nice if everybody kind of had like a bandpass filter of some kind or a set of bandpass filters. Again, these are things that like a ham club might potentially want. If you go out with other individuals often, it's like the same group, then yeah, maybe you could all kind of work out, I'll buy the 20, you buy the 40, and I'll buy the 10 or whatever, and then we'll just share them when we're out in the field together. But there you go. Yeah, there's sometimes just gets real noisy. Yeah, and no, a bandpass filter won't help if they're on the same band. I appreciate that, Don. But at the same time, we had more than enough people operating radio and not enough bands for them all to do it without a bit of stepping on each other. But it wasn't that bad. Yeah, so that's likely so Digital Rancher, that's likely what happened. Low band systems is Russian made. So, hey, that's probably why we cannot get them. Does that make sense, folks? Everybody need me to explain why that is? Probably not. All right. The other thing that I saw a lot of this weekend was just those simple Jackery battery things. And I have no affiliate code with Jackery or anything like that. They've never offered to sell me one. I have this one, but a previous model of this. This is like their 300 whatever watt hour. Sorry, 293 watt hour. And we use that for charging up laptops, lights. I used it for cameras, recharging phones for the family and whatnot. And I saw a couple of them that were out there, 3 or 4 that people were using. And they worked out really well. And people had a really good time with just those simple little things. By the way, I just used Jackery as an example. There's plenty of these that exist on the market. And there's probably 1,200 YouTube channels that just review stuff like these battery banks and solar panels out there. So you can probably find one that's maybe better performing than the Jackery, but hey, that's the one I use. All right. The real performer, though, from my point of view, is still the Buddy X. I don't know what else to say. It is a really good antenna. We got it set up on Saturday morning. Once we got in on Friday, we got the end fed set up on the Portamast and the VHF, UHF. And then it was kind of already getting dark at that point, so we're like, we'll just do long wire stuff into the evening. So we primarily worked 40 in the late night. So not a whole lot of need to have the buddy hex set up. But in the morning, for sure, we busted that thing out and had a lot of fun building it up. It was still, I mean, I built it. I built it probably 7 or 8 times at this point. Not something that I take out every weekend, obviously, because it doesn't make a lot of sense for just a couple of hour activation. But it's an absolute star for field day, and I'm probably going to be I will be ending up using it likely with whatever we do on field day this year. Let's see, Portamast, the Chameleon Portamast system. I did a video on that. If you want to go check that out, it's a really nice mast system that kind of pulls up and locks off with kind of a camber or a, what am I thinking of? Like a bolt gun. Let's see. 20 meters was pretty good. We did 10 meters. That's where we were picking up New Zealand. The pole depends. I don't know which pole you're talking about. If you're talking about the mast for the buddy hex, there's a couple of options. In fact, I think we can pull that up. Where is the mast works? Mast work. So the buddy hex is just the antenna. That's just the antenna. If you want the mast, then you need to go look at the mast works. And they come in 10 meters, 7 meters, and 4 meter setups. And I think I either have the 7 or the 10. I think I have the 10. No, I think I have the 7. I think mine goes to about 20 feet. Is that right? 20, yeah, that's about right. And to be honest, if the top is 20, right? The top is 20 meters. Then getting it up to like 30 feet is good. It's fine. But you don't really need to go much higher with that antenna, and it still does just fine at 20-ish feet. In fact, I generally don't extend that final element out much at all because it is kind of small and it is a lot of load. The guying plate, let's see. Can we pull that back up? Can we bring that back up there? Yeah. So you can see that second guying plate is it's about half a foot from the top connection. So you don't want to go much further than that because that puts a lot of strain on that top section of the telescoping mastwork system. Oh boy, from Prepper Funk, what do you think about the Baofeng UV13 Pro V2? It's the first with direct USB-C, 999 channels, and a price around about $30. What? All right, hold on. I don't have one, so UV13 Pro B2. Oh man. Oh, is this Jason has one? No. UV13. Oh no, he's got it. This is like a year old? I don't know, man. It looks like a Baofeng. Yeah, that's... Oh, is this... I don't know. It's got the same plug structure, so you can program it easily. The real trick would be if you can program it with a with chirp. If you can't program with chirp, then it's like, don't bother. It's gonna take too long, from my point of view. All right. Does it do APRS? Yeah. I will be using a Baofeng for a very important mission, at least most likely a Baofeng, at Hamvention. We've got something very spicy cooked up. Very spicy, which we'll talk about at the Ham Nation forum that I'm running this year at 9 a.m. on Saturday. Something real fun is going to be happening on Saturday at Ham Nation or Hamvention, so I hope you attend and keep your eyes open. All right, next thing that was kind of like super awesome was definitely the RigX. Why offer? Can I embiggen it? Oh my god. Oh my god. This website's wild. The Rig Experts are just antenna analyzers. I happen to have the Rig Experts, so that's what I brought. In fact, I do have a bit of a shout out here. So, FYI. Hold on. So FYI, there's actually a new rig expert in town. That is the Stick X Pro. So now you have a new rig expert stick to think about, and this one is real bright. It's basically the follow-on of the Pro model. This is the new model. But we had both of them out there. In fact, there was a couple people who brought their own stick, and we used those for the different setups. I think Adams was pretty much all squared away. I think he actually was using the Nano VNA for his multi-band, or his 10-meter 7-element beam, though. So it was pretty good all in all. All right. Those were my big, my big wow. These continue to be very helpful. There was one other thing. Where is it? No, it's not there. Something I don't often use, but they came in really handy. Why does Amazon keep doing this to me? Do you see me typing Amazon? Anybody else have that problem where it, like, Amazon, you start typing and it jumps down? So, no, BOGO ties. I don't mean a bathing suit. Bongo ties? Jeez. Yeah, we're buying bathing suits here, guys. There we go. So I bought these at Ham Radio Outlet. Like, I had a baggie of these like a year ago, and I've just been using the Velcro wraps for wire for like ever. But these are really, really handy if you have a rigid mast like the Buddy Hex or the Portamast, the Chameleon Portamast. They just go around it, boom, locks the coax in place so you don't have the coax slapping all over the place. That was really nice, and I prefer that over the Velcro because it's elastic. So yeah, that was the other big thing that I owned, and I was like, oh man, I should just keep these in my bag all the time because they came in really, 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 really handy. All right, let's see. Anything in the chat? Everybody craps on Baofeng, but everybody has five or more of them. It's true. If a ham does APRS in the woods and there's no digipeater, do they hear them? Is it really playing radio? Yeah, because you've got other hams that can pick up APRS. What a good segue, though, because speaking of APRS, we got some sad news today. This is a big deal. Yeah, so SMSGTE, you can go back and watch my APRS videos on SMSGTE. It was a part of my APRS series that we did a couple of years ago, or last year. What you use that for is you would set the APRS destination, so that, like, the call sign of the person you're trying to hit, to SMSGTE, and then in the message body, you would type a phone number, cell phone, space, and then, you know, the message, the body of the message. And what this system did was they had a bank of phone numbers that they would actually use to broker SMS communication between people. So you could have, yeah, for those that can't see it. So for those that were like me, I've used this in multiple instances, particularly when doing like a soda activation, or you're just way out there, right? You're hiking, you're way out there, where you can still hit a digipeater, but can't hit a cell phone tower, which happens. It happens. You would use this system for me to, like, get a message out to my wife. Hey, I made it to the summit. Activating now. Feel like I'll be here 2 hours and I'll start heading back, that kind of thing. So what I think was going on, and it was two things. One, it was a lot of people just kind of erroneously just using it. You know, test. We actually were looking at the raw. We were having a little discussion about this earlier on the Discord today, and we were pulling up the SMSGTE calls, and yeah, it was a lot of erroneous communications. There were a lot of people who didn't form the message correctly, so it would say, like, you know, invalid phone number or something along those lines. But to me, it's kind of like that was the point of this anyway, is it was really only useful if you didn't have cell phone reception. So it was kind of like a get out of jail free card is like the wrong, you know, example here. But if it was a pace plan item, it would be E. It would be the emergency level. Like, I'll try to make a Digipeat text message to my wife saying, "Come find. Here's my GPS location. That's where the body will be." That kind of thing. It worked. It worked well. I've actually sent my wife text messages with GTE. SMS GTE before, but all kinds of interesting stories people were talking about on the Discord. Apparently, people have used this service for sexting, and that's in the clear, fellas. Those packets are in the open, and yeah, it was just out there. So somebody was, I guess, just watching the open feed on APRS.fi, and they were just like, "Here's the receipts. We're printing them live, baby." So that was pretty wild. I didn't know that was a thing, but yeah, it totally makes sense. So yeah, kind of sad news, but yeah, that's kind of how it goes. I don't know how to get around that. That's the problem too. The reality of it is that APRS is supposed to have kind of an open-ended message payload, and the destination service. Obviously, that's working to the iGate connection to SMSGTE, but how would SMSGTE delineate between valid message and scam message? I'm trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty. I'm trying to reach you about, your ham radio's extended warranty. Yeah. So I don't know. It's a bummer though, super bummer, because now we've got one less thing that would potentially work if we didn't have cell phone signal. So now you almost always have to go with something like a Spot or an InReach if you're going out there and you want that type of capability. So yeah, that's a bummer. All right, looking at the chat here. Question. Feel free to fire off questions because we're going to probably wrap up in a little bit here. Let's see. Dawn, what are the regulations that prevent it? They may more difficult to fix than the spam. That may be. Oh, yeah, no, I don't think they can fix it. I don't know how. FCC is going to go chase it down? Because technically, it's ham radio, right? It's all ham radio until it hits that iGate. And then once it hits the iGate and somebody does something with it, and is the traffic even on amateur radio? Are they just coming through the telnet, APRS telnet? Possibly. Don't know. You guys got to put question in there if you're gonna. But Echolink is the ham feature because you can use a computer. Echolink's meh. No offense if you like Echolink. Let's see. Did your 22 amp hour battery with solar held up for all day usage? Oh yeah. So that's never my bar of how effective a station is. It's very easy. Again, it's California, right? So we have lots of sun. Very easy for me to run all day and into the evening on 20 amp hours if I have a good enough solar panel. So if I'm generally north of 80, an 80 watt panel, I'm fine. And we were literally, I've got a little voltage readout on my Go box, and we'd watch it dip down to like 12 volts and then literally leave it for, a couple of minutes, and we start watching it like climbing back up. Which was pretty cool. So the 20 amp was okay. If you were planning on only using a 20 amp, no solar, then it would not be okay. You'd blow through that very quickly, particularly at 100 watts. Particularly at 100 watts digital. Single sideband, you'd get a little bit more life out of it. Into the evening, though, I generally dialed the power back, and we only would run until around 11 o'clock because that was the curfew time. It was fine. It was good. Why Echolink meh? Why is this? There we go. Why Echolink meh? It's the only thing I've really gotten to work on an iPhone. I use it to connect to other states, countries, and for QSOs. But you're not doing. I mean, it's not a QSO though, right? You're using the internet. So again, I have no problem, right? I have no problem with people enjoying doing digital modes, like DMR, D-Star, Yaesu System Fusion over the internet. I think that's fun. If that's their jam, cool. I'm just not going to spend my time doing that. I'm going to go get on HF and whatnot. APRS is the exception because I do like the local comms aspect of APRS. The iGate stuff that APRS does, that's not the reason to do it. It's just gravy on top of the biscuit that you're eating in the morning kind of thing, from my point of view. For me, Echolink is, I don't use it. I have no interest in it. Plus, also, if you're an active repeater user, Echolink will sometimes add lag in between stations talking that it seems to mess with the flow a little bit. Nothing personal. Enjoy your Echolink. KI5EWP Billy, have you got an FTM 500 for yourself yet? Got mine 2 days ago, just got it programmed tonight. Did you not watch my video today? Did you not watch the live stream? Where is the picture? Where is my picture? I had a Go box. You saw my Go box, right? Where's my Go box picture? Yeah, right here. That's the 500. I already have shot like 3-ish short form videos on that thing answering questions. And I got to tell you guys, depending on the amateur radio operator that you are, depending on what you like to do with ham radio, the FTM 500 might not be for you. I'll just say that. We'll talk more. We'll talk more in the future about that. If you like just good all-around repeater radio and Yaesu System Fusion, good radio, fun. Other stuff, it got worse. That's all I'll say. If you got a 400, keep it. I still like it, by the way. Nothing's taking away from that first look video that I did. If you liked what you saw in that video, it's good. I gotta tell you though, the APRS stuff, the APRS implementation is not like the FTM 400 was. It's worse. It does not work the same. Who was it? Austin and I think that's Austin, literally above my head right here. I think this is the first night. I think this was the first night, and Austin and I were literally sitting in front of that radio for 30 to 45 minutes figuring out how to do a reply over APRS. And I mean reply like bring up the message, edit it, save the edit, and send it. It's not as easy as you think, and the instructions do not explain it, the manual. I don't think they'll take. Jody, I know that Yaesu has an open. This is a good point. John Crook has been on my show before, and I don't want to turn this into a Yaesu thing because there'll be videos coming out. I've already shot a bunch of stuff. John Crook has been on my show. I have a very, I love Yaesu. I love ICOM. I love all of them. I have nothing against any of these companies or the people that work for them. Yaesu has an open door policy. There's a link on their website that if you send them a message, they actually do look at it for potentially updating their radios, like a firmware change. They do ask, though, John did ask this, be nice. Be nice in the comments. Be nice in the whatever you're sending them. And do it, because, you're talking to an engineer who probably put some love into it. And maybe he's not a primary APRS user, but I will tell you that if you like the way the FTM 400 works for APRS, you might not like it on the FTM 400 or 500. You should go get some stick time. So if you're a 400 user for APRS, particularly replying on messages, you might want to go try out the 500 before buying it. Who is it? Jason, KM4ACK, and I were actually on the phone talking about this exact thing. Question: if you like to do if you like to do DMR, then yes, the Anytone 878 is a good radio. It's one of the better DMR radios out there. And that's from my point of view. I'm not a connoisseur. I already said I'm not really into DMR. Not a connoisseur, but for me, I found that the Anytone was one of the easier radios to program. Not that DMR programming is easy, just that it was, of all of them, the best experience. All right. I think we're going to wrap it up here, and we're going to start an after chat. So it's very much like what you're seeing now. I'm just going to close this one out so we can start the new one. I'd love it if you hung out. Give me like 10 minutes or so. New live stream will start, and the way we do the after chat, it's a bit different. We run the Discord audio in and out of the stream, so we're going to hear people talking and asking their questions and providing more details, because every time you've ever asked the question, what radio should I buy? How far does this radio transmit? What's the best antenna? That's not something that you just easily type back, even though I try really hard to reply to most of you. It's usually a lot easier if we can talk to you, because then we can ask important questions like, what's your budget? What type of band are you operating on? What are your goals? Is this just for dinking around when you're outdoors and you don't have cell coverage? Is this for making long-distance contacts? All those things have a different answer in ham radio. That's why we often say the best answer and most likely answer for ham radio is, it depends. So, all right, what's this question from Carl? Anyone know how to get a pet rat back in its cage when it doesn't want to? Sorry. Well, thanks, Carl. Appreciate that. Yeah, so that's a good question to wrap things up. Yeah. Cheese. Of course, Tom. The answer is cheese. There you go. Hey, guys, this was a Patrons Picks episode. Every first stream of the month, I let the producers, whose names are right here, select the stream topic. And they kind of wanted to have a little bit of a memory lane walking through what we did on the HRCC Campout. And then a little bit of lessons learned, what worked, what didn't work, what was my favorite things, what was not so favorite things. If you'd like to hear more about the food, potentially the logistics of doing the camping, you might want to go check out the podcast that I recorded with my wife. It's called, oddly enough, the Ham Radio Crash Course Podcast. And it's pretty much everywhere you might want to pod. About the 20 or 30-minute mark, we get into the show topic, which is about the campout. Also, a interesting letter I received in the mail. I received a physical letter from a ham in a pretty interesting situation, and so we read through that and did my best to hopefully answer their question. But yeah, anyway, big thank you to the patrons. As always, monthly we do a newsletter. Producers get a sticker and a QSL card and do the vote that you get to see here. There's another topic that's likely going to win for next month, and I'm looking very forward to that video, because I'm going to take it in a direction you patrons were not expecting, I think. But guys, hang tight. I'm going to flip things over and around and through, and we're going to get started on the after chat. All right? Very good. Okay. Thanks so much for watching. As always, if you have not, give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. And I'll talk to you very shortly. And if I don't see you in the after chat, have a great weekend. I'm likely going to be doing some POTA-ing tomorrow. So if you'd like to try and make a contact, I will be in a place that making a contact should be pretty easy. And one thing I forgot to mention, the amp, DAT amp though. So we'll talk about that on the after chat. But I will be running likely legal limit power out of the back of my truck tomorrow at a POTA location. That's my goal anyway. So that's what I'm going to be aiming to do. So you might hear me, but I might not be able to hear you. Guys, thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you later. Enjoy the memes. See ya.